Let's talk about getting your long-term relationship to your Western country and maybe nieces, nephews, that type of thing. How do you go about it? It appears from all of our information that we've been gathering, it's all about having a reason to go home. They want to know your native country's immigration. They want to know that the individual, not you, the individual has got the means to be able to go home and have a reason to go home. So as an example, let's say that your long-term relationship girlfriend has already got a child. Leave the child there with the grandparents. Bring her, and this will demonstrate that she's going to go home because the child is being looked after. But that only gets you so many points. At least in Canada, it's a point system. Now, the other thing is, of course, you've established your long-term relationship. You're comfortable with your long-term relationship. You know that it's going to go somewhere for sure. Then what you need to do is look at having a fairly substantial amount of money in a bank account, like about 300,000 pesos. Now, that point system, according to Canada, or the consultant, I should say, is the means to be able to attack a bank account and be able to pay for an airline ticket to come home. Because even though, let's say immigration says, no, you must go home, and you say, well, I don't have the money, so I got to keep working until I have the money. They're going to just say no. And then the other thing that they're not going to fit the bill for an airline ticket, right? So having the means to go home. Now, the other thing is if there's, say, no child involved or any of that type of thing, then get a really, really cheap, small plot of land that, could house a home, but, you're not going to do the home, obviously. Something that you could turn over. Now, in the case of, say, siblings from your relationship, your wife's family, etc., if you wanted to do that with some of them, maybe you don't want to go back to your native country, but they do want to have an opportunity to emigrate. The kicker here is, again, a small piece of property, and then just keep turning it over. And the same with that money, just keep turning it over. And that will get you, say the first couple of tourist things to your native country, which will allow them to start job searching and maybe get a sponsorship from a business and get moving if they want to get to the Western country. There you go. Not much else I can tell you about that one, guys. It's all about establishing a reason that you are committed to going back home, and that you are not just going to say to them, I'm stranded here. That no government wants that, not even the Philippines. They don't want to run into situations where they are having to deal with paying for you to come home, etc., etc. They just don't want to get into that, and that's why even the Philippines goes through the hoops that they go through to make sure that you have means, or the Filipino has a means to get home and not be stranded in another country. This is also why they're so up on the whole human trafficking thing as well, is making sure that you know exactly what you're going to do when you get there. And, even Lynn and I were grilled on that once because we weren't married at the time, and the fellow was worried about human trafficking. And Lynn just barked at him and said, I have a return ticket. I have a hotel room. I can get myself home. And really all they want to see is that. They want to see that the Filipina is strong enough to, know what to do if they get in trouble, and not just be, a meek, follow-along type person, right? I mean, that's not just with a Filipino. That could be anybody, right? They just don't want to have that situation. So, you know, that naive, say, teenager, you know, they're going to be really concerned about that. So I'm watching these guys put this roof on, and they've got their lanyards on and their security apparatuses. But a guy fell the other day, and it wasn't long enough, guys. They never shortened the rope up. Anyway, he hit the ground. Boom. Ran the ambulance out here just in case. Anyway, there we go, guys. Later, Gators.